Hello. Not sure I'm going to post this. This might just be for my own viewing to write some notes. Something else that I might post. Just wanted to make a couple of points that things that I could talk about. Number one is I still see a lot of things on social media where people are asking people to sign petitions and to take action against privatizing the NHS. Now, don't get me wrong. I think universal medicine, I think is a good idea. I really do. I think making sure that everybody has access to medical treatment at affordable cost. I mean, we pay. People think it's free. It's not. We pay. We pay through our taxes, but it's affordable, um, so that everybody can get service. And I think personally, I think it's already privatized. I think the plan to do it was years ago. I want to say probably as late or as early as maybe the 70s. Once because it happened in America. I want to say it happened in America early 70s where they had a similar thing. I think medicine used to be a lot more affordable over there. I don't know if it was ever privatized as such, but it used to be more affordable. And then I want to say in the early 70s, they decided this could be a great money making thing, and then that's when it made a division into private and then whatever the state run was. So they do have something where it's somehow supported with taxes and things. And I think what helped them move people to the private was creating the state run system, or not creating, but really running it down. So, for example, if if you wanted to make an appointment, you probably had to weigh ages and maybe the not so much the level of service, but maybe the the what do you call it, supplies and things, the resources that they had weren't as good or weren't as forthcoming. So maybe it was just about having very little resources for the patients, the time waiting, the inconvenience. I think just creating an inconvenience around the system to where people found it was easier to go private. And I'm seeing this happening here now, is people will say, I need such and such done. Um, and if I go private, I can have it done next week. If I wait on the NHS list, it will be months and months. So I see this is happening here, and it's been happening for a while actually. The slow, yeah, a slow kind of whittling away of it. Um, and I already think that it's privatized. I don't think it exists in its original form anymore. That's gone. I think it's been for a few years now, and what we're seeing now is the remnants of it. And it's they're still moving people over to the new system, without people knowing. That's the thing. And it's interesting because when I go to London and you're on the tube and you see all the adverts on there and it talks about, do you need to talk to a doctor? You can have advice today, you can have an appointment today. So they're pushing this idea that if you go private, everything's convenient and all shiny and new and everything, to get people to make the move. But also, the other reason I could say that I feel it's already done is because it became too top heavy, meaning they had too many managers, um, too many people, like, yeah, well, I mean, basically saying managers, too many chiefs, not very many Indians, and people, oh, excuse me, people who were doing the jobs, like the nurses, and mostly I would say the nurses, but probably doctors as well. They were so heavily involved in the just the running of it, not the job that they've been hired to do, which is basically looking after patients. But everything is so involved in statistics and reports and paperwork and all this other garbage that they have less time to do what they're supposed to be doing. I mean, if we did away with all that crap, which we could do, because I think a lot of it's unnecessary, and just let nurses and doctors do what nurses and doctors do. But they also need to be retrained, as we know, because they know nothing about natural medicine, and that is important. I'm a total believer in both. I think allopathic medicine is important, but I believe natural medicine is actually to me, actually is more important because if you have natural medicine, you maintain the equilibrium of your body. And allopathic is great for those emergency situations, like you broke your leg skiing, or you need heart surgery. That is when they do their best work. But day to day living, natural medicine. Hate to say it, folks. I know a lot of people like the comfort of being able to eat whatever they want to do and do whatever they do and smoke and drink and everything else, and that when they're poorly, they just go in and get a pill. I know that that's easy and convenient. I hate to be the bearer of news you don't want to hear, but that's the truth of it. You want to be healthy, you got to take a responsibility. No one's going to do it for you. So that was one thing I thought would be interesting to maybe talk about in a quick video. So that was one observation. The other observation I'm noticing, again, I said it the other day, everything I think is unfolding perfectly. I just see, I mean, imagine if last year happened. There were people who were doubters. I'm one of them. I'll admit right from the start, I thought the whole thing was rubbish. It did not make sense to me from the start. I could not join dots from the start, and I thought there's something up here. It doesn't make me wonderful or great or more intelligent than anyone else. It just makes me a geek that likes to sit and study detail. And that's again goes to back to my astrology, my Virgo rising. I'm a detail person. And one of the reasons why I struggled, well, not why I struggled. One of my challenges in working for other people my whole life, because I've always worked for other people, is when things don't make sense. When you have a boss that says, "I want you to do this," and you think, "But it doesn't make sense." And even when you say, "But it doesn't really make sense to the project I'm working on," and then they kind of force themselves because it's I'm the boss, you'll do what I say. Um, I've always struggled with that. I'm a detail person, and if things don't make sense, if you've got one set of rules for one people and another for another one, or something doesn't jive, then I struggle with it. So it's not that I'm unique or anything else. It's just I'm a detail person. And so if last year there were people who knew something was up, and of course by the end of, I would say certainly by the end of the summer, there was more people who knew something wasn't up. And if things had kind of gone away, then everyone would have been went back to their normal, which is not normal. We know is not normal. Um, it had to keep going. It had to keep getting. I don't know how to describe it. It had to keep turning. Okay, so what I'm seeing in my head is when you have a fire in the fireplace and it's been burning for quite a while, and so the fire has kind of gone down, your wood is glowing, but the fire's kind of gone down, and you think, I want some more heat in the room. You take your tool and you stir up the fire, and then the flames grow up. And that's exactly what's had to happen. It has to keep getting stirred, because if it doesn't get stirred, guess what? People are not going to stand up for their freedom. So even those people who have been aware that something's up for a year, I know they're frustrated because they want everybody to wake up, and they will in their own time, just like they did. But it has to keep getting stirred, because what we don't need and want, what humanity don't need and want, is to go back to old normal, so to speak. It has to change. The fire is going to keep getting stirred up until there's enough fire in everybody that they say we need to change. Because what we're doing now, and this goes with like seeing things about the NHS, is we keep trying to fix problems with old solutions. We got the NHS. Let's keep saving it. Why? We know the system is failing, because one of the biggest things right there, you've got all this, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, too much bureaucracy, too much red tape. The system isn't working, and it's not just in that system. All systems are not working. Any country, any society, and I'm just going to talk about Britain because that's where I live. Any society where you have anybody living off food banks, there's a problem. Any society where you have homeless, there's a problem. Any society where there's any lack of quality of life, there's a problem. And going back to what we had pre-2020 is not solving the problem. It's quiet, put a band-aid on it. It's okay. We know there's food banks, but it's okay because there's not many people. No, the whole thing has to get stirred up, stirred up. Everybody's got to get a fire in them to say, do you know what? We deserve better and we're going to have better. And it has to be driven by the people, and it has to be with a fire in people, but not a fire to attack people, but to stand up for themselves. So that's a different kind of thing. What would you call that? Some uh, defense rather than offense, right? And that's where we have to be. So enough of the fire has to get stirred up to not just wake more people up, but those that are awake to get them in the right space. Because right now there's still a lot of anger. There's a lot of anger by people that are awake. They keep pointing to the people that aren't awake. It's your fault. It's your fault. That's not true. Um, it's misplaced. It's misplaced passion at the moment. So once we get the passion in the right place, things will fall into place. We've all got to find our calm space. Again, and I said last night, I'm very calm at the moment, very calm at the moment. I see things are slotting in the places as they should be. And yes, people are going to be angry for a while, but it's okay. It's part of their process in getting out the anger and saying, okay, we need to create better. We don't need to go back to what we had. That wasn't working. We just didn't know it wasn't working. But now we're starting to expose things. Why would we put it back the way it was? It's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good analogy. If a relationship's not working, then you've got to change the relationship, basically, don't you? But we know it all has to be changed. We can't just go back to what we had. It's not working. Anyway, I'm not sure if I'll post this because I like my makeup on. I can't help it. I'm vain. Eh. Um, but if I do, then I wish you a blessed day wherever you are on the earth plane, and namaste.